Now, voters in Scotland are weighing up the arguments made during last night's televised debate on the independence referendum. There were a series of pretty bad-tempered clashes between the First Minister, Alex Salmond, and the leader of the Better Together campaign, Alistair Darling. Let's just take a look at what social media is making of the whole event. With us now is Anne-Marie Tomczak from the BBC's trending team, which keeps an eye on what's hot and what's not on social media. Thanks very much for being with us. So what was the instant reaction of people then to that debate?
Well, it was definitely trending. People were using the hashtag BBC IndieRef last night, and it was trending in the UK. And I was just looking at some of the statistics around that particular hashtag. It's been used almost 150,000 times in the past 24 hours, which is quite big. A similar amount of tweets for the hashtag IndieRef, which is one of the hashtags that's been used throughout the course of this campaign over the past 6 months. It's been used over 2 million times. So lots of people were talking about this on Twitter and Facebook and other platforms. Many of them tweeting their thoughts throughout the debate. And if you look at the sentiment and the emotion felt by analysing the tweets, I think we can call up some live data which actually takes in how people are thinking in real time. If you look at the live polling of the tweets, it actually shows that Salmond had the lead as well. So this here, what you're looking at now, is called They Say, which is an analytics tool which can tell you exactly how people are feeling on Twitter. It took in a sample of about 280,000 tweets, and you can see there the green for Salmond showing much more positive sentiment towards him, an even amount of positive and negative for Darling. But when I looked at this tool last night as the debate was going out, it looked more or less even. And it seems that in the aftermath of the debate, Salmond has taken a huge surge of support. And you could even see that by the hashtags that were trending last night. Salmond win was trending in the UK. But interestingly, when you look at how people were talking about various topics, Salmond won overall, but Darling, in the eyes of Twitter users, did better in some areas, such as currency, on issues like defence and jobs. So while Salmond won overall, he used more humour, he talked about risk less, and he stated his intentions more. Darling still performed okay. And it was quite interesting that people were latching on to some of the catchphrases that happened during the debate as well. I noticed that the word hypocrite was one of the trending terms on Facebook, and that was after a lady in the audience put a question to Darling about the NHS and the privatisation of it. So that was one of the things that people talked about a lot.
All right, well, interesting, actually, very interesting to get that kind of instant view of what people made of the debate. I know lots of people thought it was too bad-tempered and couldn't even hear what was being said at times. I
noticed a lot of tweets about this, and I happened to tweet about that myself as well. You know, a lot of people were saying, where is the moderator gone? Because they felt that there was an awful lot of shouting, and when they really were feeling distressed and wanted to actually hear some real answers. A lot of humour as well. When Alex Salmond described Alistair Darling as a one-trick pony when he brought up the issue of currency again, as he had done in the previous debate, this was being used a lot on Twitter, and lots of illustrations featured showing pictures of ponies and Darling's face superimposed on it. So you do see a lot of humour. But what I've noticed is the images that are being shared online by people on Twitter and on Facebook tend to focus on graphics and quotes, so catchphrases and quotes. So they're not really as humorous as other big events that you might see, for example, with the World Cup. They don't get into that just yet. It's like the language of the internet is being used slightly differently. And if you look at the style of how each of the people performed last night, it's quite reflective of how they're using social media as well. Darling focusing very much on information and detail, Alex Salmond talking more in sound bites and in the language of the people. That's exactly how they're using social media too.
Okay. All right, well, really good to talk to you. Anne-Marie Tomczak there, just showing that people are engaged in the referendum debate, which is a good thing, obviously. Thank you very much indeed. Let's